making an appearance this week?
Well, no.
Hi. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Windy City Fantasy Football Show.
Week 11.
We're getting close. We're getting very, very close.
In fact, this is the last week of new matchups. Next week we start back at the beginning. So after this week we will all have played each other. So we're in what is now known as the playoff push.
Yes, indeed. We're getting very, very close, as I said before. 4 teams will make it. The rest of us will have to just wait till next year.
So why don't we go over last week's results? Delaney beat Jameson. Jameson was the low scorer of the week. Rick had an amazing showing, 179.4 over Carson. Emily got another win. She beat Austin. Sue, 147 over Michaela, 129.9. Sam had kind of a mediocre week in terms of Sam scoring, only 140.8 over you, 121.8. And Lindsay and Jen, Jen beat Lindsay 117.5 to Lindsay's 101.4. The thing with me and Lindsay is my quarterback had to throw to her tight end, which were the 2 highest scores there. So Lamar had 33.4, and he threw to Andrews, which is her tight end, to get her 23.3. And then in turn, her quarterback, Dak, had to throw to my receiver, Amari Cooper, which was Dak got her 25.9 and Cooper got me 34.7. So, like, if we hadn't been playing each other and having those, like, cancel each other out, probably... And I've never really seen that happen quite that big, where it's like, those were the 4 best players on our team, and they each relied on the other. So, the standings remain the same. The top 4 do. There was Rick and Sue leapfrogged you for the just outside of the top spot. So that's going forward. They are the next 2 in line, and Rick has more points as it stands now. So, and there'll be something kind of interesting for that when we get to this week's matchups. So stay tuned. So, in other news, are we in the Twilight Zone?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone.
No, we're not.
We're not?
No.
Oh. Is it because... Okay. Well, the Bears won.
Okay. They won.
The Falcons won.
The Falcons won.
Yeah! Yay! I don't understand the point of the Falcons winning, but they did.
They're not trying to tank.
No. We'll get to that in a minute, too. But Twilight Zone, this was a strange week. The Bears beat the Lions, which isn't so strange, but the Bears beat the Lions. The Falcons, the 1-7 Falcons, beat the 1-loss Saints to give them their second loss. So that was weird. The Browns beat the Bills, who were number 2 in their division, and like the wild card lock versus the Browns. The Titans beat the Chiefs. Last second blocked field goal, but Titans beat the Chiefs. The Dolphins got their second win of the season over the Colts, who really have been pretty good. The Steelers beat the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, the Seahawks took out the Niners, so we don't have any undefeated teams anymore. Twilight Zone.
I don't know why you want to take all the good things that happen and make it into something abnormal.
Because it's abnormal.
I don't like it.
Both kitties are in our video this week. Hello. This one hasn't really made an appearance this year. This is Trooper. He got bigger. Say hi. Okay. What's next?
Booms, busts, and big outs.
Booms, busts, and big outs. Well, the first boom, obviously I just have to take pride in, is Lamar Jackson. He had another monster game. He had a 59-yard touchdown run himself, which was pretty exciting. So he was a boom, but also the Ravens have a new play called the Triple Heisman Threat, which is pretty awesome and never been done before. They have 3 Heisman players all on the field at the same time. Lamar Jackson got the ball. He won it in 2016. He pitched it to RG3, who won in 2011. But he could have pitched it to Ingram, who won in 2009. According to everything that I've seen, that's never happened before. Have there been 3 Heisman players, same team, on the field at the same time. So, Harbaugh just comes up with stuff out of nowhere. Like, he puts RG3 in the game just for that. I feel like, well, he played most of the fourth quarter, because blowout.
And this strange and unusual fact is brought to you by the Windy City Fantasy Football League show.
Next is the Cincinnati Bungles, as my brother calls them. They are both a boom and a bust. Because they're a bust, the team sucks. They have no wins. But they are now a boom at losing. Because the Dolphins now have 2 wins. The Dolphins, who are trying to tank, have 2 wins, whereas the Bungles are just the Bungles, so they are now a boom at losing. They have the number 1 pick. The Dolphins can't even tank right.
This bit of non-fantasy football related football is brought to you by the Windy City Fantasy Football League show.
All right, a personal bust in general is the Packers. If anybody watched that game, the Packers get every call. The Packers get every call and then some. I'm not a Bears fan, and I hate the Packers. Like, they just get stuff that they shouldn't ever get. They got a roughing the passer that even, like, the announcers were like, that's textbook how you should tackle a quarterback. But no! Rodgers catches the flag in the air. Like, poof. And then at the end, it's snowing, so everyone feels bad for the Packers, I guess. Whatever. Christian McCaffrey maybe had that touchdown, maybe didn't, I don't know, but there was snow on the ground, so no one could really say one way or the other. And again, the Packers get the call. So that's a personal bust. The Chiefs holder is a bust. He had 2 bad things. I guess the first one was
Would they be holds?
No. So the first, the holder, like the kick holder.
Yeah.
No.
Snaps?
No, he had a bad snap. Like, nobody was ready for it. And so he picked it, like, stood up with it, didn't know what to do, and so he, like, tossed it out of bounds. So they got called intentional grounding on that. and the Titans turned around and scored. And then the last of the game was the blocked field goal, but they actually said it was kind of because he kind of bungled the snap and everything. So the Chiefs holder was a bust.
Who's got him on their team?
Nobody, but it's an interesting fact.
This interesting fact brought to you by the Windy City Fantasy Football League show.
Zeke didn't have a good game. He's a bust.
Mm.
So there was the battle for the New York back page, I guess is what it's called. The Giants and the Jets game. The Jets are the bust, or the boom, and the Giants are the bust. Both Barkley and Bell both had terrible games, running backs, the busts. But my favorite story from this is, so Saquon Barkley's dad went to the game in his full Jets gear because he's a diehard Jets fan. You know, it's bad when your dad goes to your game and wears the other team's stuff. I think that's hilarious. Full-on Jets gear, cheering for his son, playing on the Giants. No matter what you get drafted, no matter how big of a running back you are, you will never not cheer for the Jets, apparently. Thought that was a cute story. Russell Wilson was a boom. Balaj for the Dolphins has been a boom. And Jared Goff was a bust. He was briefly benched for Blake Bortles for a couple of plays. That's bad when you're benched for Blake Bortles.
Very true.
This opinion has been brought to you by me,
The host of the Windy City Fantasy Football League show.
Next up is injuries. The Bears had a nice surprise, I guess, for you when you showed up to the field on Sunday and found out Matt Stafford isn't going to play today. Like, oh, well, that does make our defense look even better. He's still questionable this week. Matt Ryan, my other favorite Matt in football. Is also questionable. Will Fuller is day-to-day. Jacoby Brissett, they think likely will play, so that's an injury to keep track of just because they think he will. Amari Cooper, my all-star, is questionable, but I think probably expected to play.
Oh, that's good.
Alshon Jeffrey is questionable towards doubtful. Thielen is also doubtful. For the Falcons, Hooper, who's your tight end, and Freeman, who was my running back, both are doubtful. Also your tight end, Kittle, and Emmanuel Sanders are doubtful and pretty questionable for the Niners. AJ Green is questionable. Le'Veon Bell and Jack Doyle. T.Y. Hilton is doubtful.
Ooh.
Josh Jacobs questionable. Brandon Cooks is doubtful. And Marquise Hollywood Brown is questionable.
All right. So, you know who you've got. Make sure you're keeping an eye on those guys.
And the buys. Some people right now have lots of players that are on bye in their lineup. We want to make sure we're getting our buys taken out. They suck. We all know that they suck. Last week I had 5 players on bye, so change them if you got them.
The segment that ensures we all love fantasy football. The coulda, shoulda, wouldas.
Luckily, we really didn't have very many. Delaney Delaney had the Rams D that she should have played, which would have gotten her 20 points. And she should have played Golden Tate, which would have gotten her 23.5. Me, I had Deebo Samuel on my bench. He would have gotten me 22.2. He's so unpredictable. And Lindsay could have played Danny Dimes to get her 30.3 points. And Dak got her 25.9, so there wasn't much of a difference, but I just did point out that she had a player with 30-something points on her bench, but that was why. So, notable games this week. This is being filmed right now at the start of the Steelers-Browns game in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield was looking like his usual pretty cocky self, so that's probably good. He's more interesting when he's cocky. So, other notable games are Atlanta and Carolina. Atlanta's coming off a win in another division game. Okay. So that could go either way. Same for the Saints. The Saints are playing Tampa Bay, also division game. So how will they bounce back? The Texans and the Ravens really should be a pretty good game. There's some pretty stout defenses there. Some pretty high-flying quarterbacks. So that should be a good game. Patriots and the Eagles. Super Bowl rematch from 2 years ago. Maybe. Sunday Night Football.
Chicago goes to the LA Rams.
The LA Rams that have kind of been a dumpster fire the last little bit.
We'll see.
We'll see.
And then Monday Night Football, Kansas City versus the LA Chargers. So, some very interesting games to keep an eye on, especially for those who have players on those teams.
Definitely make sure you're watching the later games, the 3:25, the 7, and the Monday night starts to see if you need to swap anybody out, who you've got to change out if you need to. So. All right, finishing up with this week's matchups. As I said in the beginning, we kind of have an interesting little matchup preview, possibly. So Jen is playing Delaney.
Okay.
And Sam is playing Lindsay. And we are your top 4. So 2 of the top 4 are going to lose by default. So I'm number 4 and I'm playing Delaney. She's number 2.
You could tie.
No, remember we have tiebreakers. Like we had a big owners meeting about that. And Sam is playing Lindsay, so he's number 1 and she's number 3. So it's not exactly how it would be in the playoffs, because I think right now Sam and I would play each other, and Delaney and Lindsay would. But this week could throw all of that off, because we're the top 4 and we're playing. You can't make this stuff up. This schedule was set way before our teams have been this way. Crazy. Another fun matchup is Michaela versus Rick. This is their first marital battle. So good luck with that. Chilly week in your household. Especially since Rick is right on the outside of those playoffs. If I lose and he wins, he could overtake me. So Michaela, do you want to play spoiler? Other matchups are Carson versus Jameson, Emily versus Matt, and Sue versus Austin. So, yeah. So we will see. This week we'll actually have some pretty good matchups to kind of see where the season is gonna turn in the home stretch.
Ramifications for the playoffs.
Playoff push.
Yes.
So.
Well, speaking of playoff push, we got one more interview to go through right now, and we hope you enjoy. All right, fantasy football.
Yeah. Peace.
We're on location
Mine is
in Two Toots Bar and Grill.
Yeah. Train's coming in.
Trains bring you your food.
The caboose.
But we're here for an important task. I'm gonna get to sit here and interview one of our managers, one of our team owners. Not,
Yes.
but it's not only the
Our
team manager.
No edits. No edits on this one.
Get up, horse.
The commissioner himself.
Get up, horse. Let's go.
So here's Austin.
How are you?
Well, okay. I didn't catch the first part, but that's okay.
Oh, hi, Matt.
Okay, there we are. It's nice to interview you. Okay. I'm going to start off with the first question that's on everybody's mind. What's your second favorite sport, and how soon should we be expecting a fantasy league in that sport?
I don't know if they do a fantasy Olympic swimming.
I thought you were sailing Dungeons and Dragons. I was expecting some kind of video game.
It'd be a lot worse than like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. Fantasy Overwatch.
Fantasy
Perfect.
dwarf chucking. It's like
That
pumpkin
was-
chucking. But
Axe throwing.
That's different.
All right, so you picked your name Cohen the Distance for this
Yeah.
year's
As he sits on my bench.
Did Grandma see your
Are you really distraught that you didn't get the Rulio connection this year?
You know what? It was a little disappointing. I was pretty upset when Julio Jones was stolen from me.
That's very true. It was stolen from you.
I'm a terrible
It
person.
turned out to be such a wonderful pick on my part too. Passing up Christian McCaffrey has been just gangbusters in my season thus far. All right. While my son tries to lose fingers to a toy train.
Last time we were here,
So,
there was 2 trains running and then just got crashed.
Oh, that would have
what's been your favorite?
The lady caught it.
You got a drink here. I'm
Excellent.
sorry.
You know,
We got beverages.
you broke it.
It's okay.
Now you have to pay for it.
So,
Bring your money.
who's
Yeah,
been your
where is it?
favorite player thus far this
Can I
season?
have it?
Doesn't have to be someone on your team.
Can I have your money?
Favorite
for it?
player. It's definitely not Tariq Cohen, my team's namesake,
Yeah,
because
hang on, buddy. You gotta bring a straw.
Bears have just not gotten him going at all.
No, they have not.
Need
Here, whoa.
need
Don't put it-
Trubisky back
got
with those
paper.
dump off passes.
No, this one's yours. honey.
But we need those 3 yard barn burners.
Hey, it's 1.3 yards
Yeah.
now
Oh my
these days.
goodness.
Did you
yes.
need one still?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
So, as my
There.
as our children destroy this
Well,
restaurant.
then here, this one. Did you get one?
Shirley.
No, I didn't.
This is yours.
Well,
You know, I've been kind of
Did you get any extra
pleased
straws up there?
with
No stuff for you.
the
fine.
recently
I'll just
departed
look at
Bear
it.
massacre
No, just
of
look at-
the
look at
Okay, we're
Packers.
not going to the
I think that was
museum.
good. You know, between Jordan Howard and Alshon Jeffrey, just lighten it up
yes.
against the
Here, want me to do it?
Packers. So
Could have been. What is the thing?
There you go.
I think that was my favorite moment. Favorite player. It's got to be that guy I keep putting on my bench, Tyreek Hill. I refuse to
Yeah.
play him because I keep forgetting that I need to
There
move
you go.
I keep
Back to my
forgetting he's
idea.
healthy now and I can play him. All right, this is a very important question. This is what everybody's been dying to know.
You said that before.
If you got stranded on a desert island and you could only bring one book with you, how many times do you think you'd read it before you'd try and drown yourself in the ocean?
I think the
I don't even care what book it is at this point. It's just the number is really the key here.
I definitely think it would be 15.
15. All right. Well,
It's before I just went and started swimming.
okay. Well, I want you to just. I was going to start the interview this way, but I was wondering if you could do me a favor. I'd like you to say into the camera that I got this job in no ways, shape, or form by being related to the commissioner of our league.
And you got this job?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The only reason he's hosting this is because he's related to me.
Okay. That hurts. That hurts. All right. Well, thank you, Austin, for sharing your, putting up with these awful questions. And being part of the fantasy football season and putting together this fantasy football league. Thank you much.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Right, yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, that's us. That's all for us. So
All right.
hope you enjoyed the kitties this week. I guess they made some guest appearance. So.
Yes. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.